This week on GamePron News, it's been a big one for charity as Child's Play announced they've cracked the 1 million mark for 2010 with more on the way. Epic Games have stormed onto the iPhone in more ways than one. Video Games Live founder Tommy Tallarico alienates a chunk of his fanbase. Minecraft finally sets a date to head out of alpha mode, and a US court finds that using bots to play WoW isn't as bad as we once thought. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen. Despite the stereotypes that see gamers as antisocial types, we're really quite generous when it comes to looking after the less fortunate. Child's Play is a community-based charity that has its roots firmly in the games industry. Founded by Mike and Jerry from Penny Arcade back in 2003, it aims to improve the lives of sick children by donating toys and games to hospitals around the world. This week saw an important milestone for the charity. They've raised more than $1 million in 2010 alone. More than $183,000 of that came from a single evening, a last week's formal dinner auction sponsored by fabulous companies like PopCap Games, Wizards of the Coast, 343 Industries and Valve, to name but a few. But they're still not happy. Last year, the charity received a whopping $1.7 million, so there's still a little way to go yet. You don't want 2010 to be the year we were less charitable, do you? Now, if you want a pretty simple way of donating to Child's Play and snagging yourself 5 awesome independent games in the process, you may like to consider the Humble Indie Bundle 2, which has been unleashed upon the world. Following the success of May's original Humble Bundle, this time around you can get Cortex Command, Osmos, Machinarium, Braid and Revenge of the Titans, and you can name your own price. Whatever you choose to play is then split 8 ways, and you can determine how much each party gets, dividing your contribution between each of the 5 developers, Child's Play and the Electronic Frontiers Foundation, with a tip thrown in for the bundle coordinators in the hopes they'll be inspired to create a third. All 5 games are available for PC, Mac and Linux, and all 5 are DRM free because they trust you. The bundle raised more than $500,000 in the first 24 hours, and it's only available until December 21st. So it'd make a pretty awesome holiday gift, don't you reckon? Speaking of making a lot of money ridiculously quickly, congratulations to Epic Games and Share Entertainment for the runaway success that is Infinity Blade. The game, which brings the Unreal Engine to the iPhone for the first time, launched last Thursday, and early reports suggest that it could very likely be the fastest growing app of all time. We haven't seen any concrete sales figures at this point, but Apple's Game Center showed more than 274,000 registered copies after the game had been available for just 5 days. Not every iPhone gamer uses Game Center, however, and Epic's Mark Rain chuckles that the numbers being reported are quite a bit lower than the actual sales. I'm guessing they're hoping to continue the success with the Unreal Engine's second game for iOS, Dungeon Defenders: First Wave. It's been developed by Trendy Entertainment, who describe it as an epic online cooperative action RPG meets strategic defense.
Prepare for the ultimate online tower defense action role-playing game. Design your unique hero. Learn powerful abilities. Build strategic defenses. Create and customize an armory of equipment. Dungeon Defenders.
It's out now, and while we're not sure it'll be quite the blockbuster that we saw with Infinity Blade, it's certainly worth a look. As a prequel to the full-blown version of the game, due on PC and console next year, it is a handy way of getting a head start. These might be the first 2, but they're certainly not the last we'll be hearing from the Unreal Engine on the iPhone. Epic have just launched the Unreal Development Kit for iOS, meaning that gamers can use that technology to make awesome things for the iPhone, iPad and iPod Touch. To ice that particular cupcake, the UDK will be available for free as long as any games you make with it are also released free of charge. If you want to start selling the end product, you'll need to fork over a $99 licensing fee and 25% royalties after your first $5,000 in sales. Sounds pretty fair to me. And now for something completely different. Veteran games composer and founder of Video Games Live, Tommy Tallarico, is a vegan. Up until this week, that detail of his life was really of no interest to most people, but he's decided to share his diet and his political opinions with the masses. Claiming to give animals a one-up, the industry legend has teamed up with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Yep, PETA, to release a vegan testimonial public service announcement. This isn't the first time he's worked with the activist group. Tellerica also lent his musical talents to their recent parody title, Super Tofu Boy. It is, however, the first time that he's made such a big deal about it, and his affiliations, rather than his choice of foods, are already drawing protests from video games live fans. Some fans who are pretty pleased, however, are the army of gamers who are currently infatuated with Minecraft. Developer Notch has announced that the game will, finally, be moving out of alpha mode on December 20th and into the fabled beta stage of its development. The upgrade will bring with it a larger focus on polish and content, the introduction of proper modding support, and, excitingly, a non-intrusive narrative and some endgame content. All of these goodies do come at a price, however, and you will have to fork over a little bit more cash to get your copy of the game when it's in beta. It'll set you back €14.95, which is still 25% off the expected final price and ridiculously cheap. The US Court of Appeal for the Ninth Circuit has found that using a player bot in World of Warcraft, something like MMO Glider, is not a breach of copyright, overturning a ruling by an earlier court. The appeal found that gamers do not outright buy copies of games from publishers, instead they license each copy, so the game still belongs to the publisher and the end-user license agreement dictates what each person can do with their copy of the game. While the agreement for World of Warcraft does include specific clauses which prohibit the use of third-party tools, like Glider, the court found that these clauses did not form binding conditions that limit the license. Instead, they're covenants, mere promises that you won't do the wrong thing. So, by installing a bot program, while you're not infringing on anybody's copyright, you are still breaking the contract you made with Blizzard and you can get in plenty of trouble for that. That brings us to the end of this year's season of GamePron News. We're working on a few surprises and special features over the holiday break, so why don't you stick around to make sure you don't miss anything. You can subscribe to us on YouTube or Blip TV, follow us on Twitter or be our friend on Facebook, or else you can just hang around at GamePron.com, which will still be regularly updated with all sorts of games, news, reviews and other content. Punkly has been working extra hard behind the scenes and we've just expanded the site in time for the holidays. In addition to all of the screenshots in the media gallery, we've now got a pretty comprehensive file library hosting patches, updates, videos, demos and free games. It's well worth checking out. Make sure you leave us a comment if you drop by. I'd also like to thank Brenna, Matt Kay, Lachlan, Dan and Teteru for their contributions, Elroy Online for his design work and support, Remain Calm for the fabulous GamePron News theme music, and Punkly for his undying support behind the scenes, and behind the camera, and behind the editing desk. And of course, I'd like to thank you for watching, reading and commenting. For a new site that was only launched in February, I think we're doing okay for ourselves, but we couldn't have done it without your help. So, until next year, I'm Jessica Citizen and this is GamePron News.